Hello. A while ago, I came across a post on Reddit, and it asked about Kdenlive's capabilities to create titles similar to what is currently shown here. And that got me intrigued a little bit, so I thought, well, maybe I can actually replicate that. Initially, it looked like this is a little difficult because lots of moving parts and some see-through text and so on and so forth. But I gave it a shot and created this project. And I will show you quickly how to do something like that. We would need, of course, Kdenlive, and just quickly showing you which version I'm using. So this is 22.12.2 that came out just recently. And we would also need GIMP to create a mask because this is what we're going to use. So, long story short, um, this is basically how this looks real quick. So here we go. And I will show you how to put something like this together. So first things first, we would need a title. Actually, we need three titles here. So we use the big bar in the middle. That is one. Then the two smaller bars is the second one. And the third one will take care of the text here in the middle. So let's go over here and just create a title clip. And to make this easier, I have the background in here. So I would simply create a rectangle like so. We can have different colors, but white is the one that I want to go with for now. I want to make sure that this is centered, and let's just create that and call this, I don't know, big white bar. Then we'll create another one for the smaller ones here. So basically same idea. I just create these little rectangles here. You can be creative as far as the length and the thickness, etc. is concerned, of course, and also the color again. If you want to make some minor adjustments that might not be really doable with using the cursor here, feel free to use the parameter settings up here so you can make that bigger or smaller according to your needs. I just think we should make sure that they are about the same size. So this one here needs to be adjusted to be 17 pixels high, and I think position-wise we're also in good shape. So let's create that too. Let's call that small white bars. And then the last one is going to be the text. So let's call that something like big fat text animation. We want to make this centered, have a little bit of bigger letter spacing, bring this out a little bit, and again, center it, and that should be it. So let's create that title. It's already called big fat text animation. Now, the important thing here is that we need to create a mask of this text. So the best thing to do is simply select the title, bring it over into your clip monitor, and then do right click, extract frame. Put it somewhere, for example, into your pictures folder, give it a text title, animation, doesn't really matter, and save it. So while we're at that, we just open GIMP and we open this particular file, big fat text animation, bring it across, and we are actually ready to go because we have a nice alpha background and we have this big fat text animation here. If that were black or anything else, then you would need to turn the black background into the alpha channel. So we can leave this as it is. Then let's bring this over into our timeline. So we have the text. We bring this here. We have the small bars. Bring that over here. Correct the typo. And we need the big white bar right underneath this. Right now, I'm not too concerned about the sequence here, where it starts, because that's going to be a next step. And let's just assume that we want to use this one here as our background. And I'll just bring this here with the video only, make it a little bit make it start here. Come over here and quickly cut that. We don't need the rest for now. Okay, so this is how it looks right now. Good. So in order to make that text see-through, we are going to create an alpha mask. So we go over here to the effects, bring over the shape alpha, and as the image or video source, we select that picture that we just created. Big fat text animation. And we make that invert and bring that over here. You can work with the softwares and things like that, but for right now, that works. But in order to actually really make that see-through and bring everything back in, we need to have a transition between these two, or a composition. And we need the composition of type edition. And here you go. So here we have our nice text in the white bar, and it is see-through. Then the next thing that we would like to do, or that we need to do, is actually animate the whole thing. And since we do not have any curves, animation curves for Kdenlive, we can only rely on manual keyframe animation, and that is a pretty tedious task if you want to do this completely by yourself. So the trick is that you basically copy an animation from another video. Doesn't matter what it is. So if you are looking at this or watching this tutorial here based on my uploaded Kdenlive project file from the KDE store, you could actually use that as a basis. So let's bring that into the project bin as well. So find that folder. I rendered it here. Bring this over here and just use that as our video. So if we look at this separately, this is how it looks like. So we are going to copy that as well. So I bring this down here. I don't want this to snap, so I'll turn snap off and bring this over here a little bit. So here we start the animation. Now where exactly does the animation start? It is right here. Okay, so let's then adjust the big white bar to start here, switch snapping back on. Then the next one is the white bar, so they start here, and the text comes into place here. So let's move that here. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I go back to switching this on so that I can see it, and I add a transform effect. Then this is the first keyframe. I'm going to move this all the way to here so that it coincides with that. Doesn't have to be completely exact. Then go one more frame, create a keyframe, move this across until I've come to the right position, and I repeat this for the entire duration of that original animation. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. If you need to fine-tune this, then you can double-click on the value and then use the mouse wheel to just move this to the right position, one pixel or one position at a time. So here we now start to go into this smaller movement area where it just moves just a little bit at a time, more or less linearly. So we can just move forward frame by frame until we find the position or the frame where it starts to move faster. Just probably about here. Yep. So I'll take that as another keyframe and then move up one more frame, and I start to now make the bigger movements. And I just realized that I did not really move it correctly here, so let's bring that, go back and move it where it's supposed to be. Okay, and then one more frame, move it a little bit, and then you will see that you will actually move this here out of it. So now the reference should be the tail end, if you will. And this is in particular important when you need to adjust the length of this square or this rectangle, this board, if you will, if it is longer or shorter than what we're using here. Again, one more. And I think that is the last keyframe where it's actually visible. Yep, so I'll just move this just out of the viewport. Okay, so here we go. You then, because it's no longer visible, we can just shorten that clip here down in the timeline. And I'm basically going through this exercise for all of the other elements that I have in here. Make sure that they follow that animation. So I'm here basically again, add the transform effect, create keyframes. So then move this to where it is supposed to go and go through this process step by step. Again, I'm going to speed this up. This one is a little bit trickier because it is overlapping here a little bit. So that's really something that needs very good eye balling this. So let's just assume that we need to move this to here somehow. So again, add a transform effect. Oops. Get this out of the way. Move this to where this needs to go. So here's the B right about here. That should do it, and then move it along. Again, there was a tie got to here, and so on. So you get the drift. Okay, so here I can also adjust the length of that particular clip because nothing is visible here, so we should be all good. So you may have noticed that some of the smaller movements are a little bit out of tune here, so I'll probably just go somewhere between the last keyframe of the fast movement and the first keyframe of the fast movement again. Create another keyframe and adjust this where it needs to be. And do this also for the small bars, maybe just a little bit further left. So I'm just eyeballing the center between the two. Create another keyframe, make some smaller adjustments here. And I think the big white bar is good so far, but just for good measure, see whether there's a little bit of adjustment that is needed. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so we're good. And in order to see how this then works, just really tune this out and have a quick check on the overall animation. This looks pretty good, and if I just have Kdenlive play that back, that looks pretty good. Okay, so if we then get rid of this here and replace it with the video that we are supposed that we want to have as our background. So let's just delete this, bring this back in like so, cut this here, delete that, and take a look at it. That looks pretty good to me, and that's all there is to it. So one final thought on this one. This is pretty easy to do. Very standard effects within Kdenlive. You can again adjust this to your particular needs. If you want to, you can actually save this whole thing as a library effect. So just select the clips down here, open your library window, click the add timeline selection to library, give it a meaningful name, and you have it there. So I have done that already. So here's my title. I can actually bring this over into my project bin, add clip to project, and you see here I have that title now here as an MLT. I can actually bring this over here as a single title. You can see that it works, but of course I cannot directly make any changes. So if I want to change the text in here, I need to do something different, and that is actually fairly easy to do. I bring this over to where I want that to be again, and then click on the menu, timeline, current clip, expand clip, and Kdenlive just breaks it into the individual pieces, and I can then make my adjustments. It actually brings it over into a special folder that it creates in the project bin, which is called pasted clips. And now I can change the title of the the title text, if you will, but please remember to create the necessary mask using the extract frame, save it somewhere, and then open it up in in GIMP to make sure that it has the alpha channel and everything. That's it. I hope you enjoyed that, and see you soon.